Hi everyone and welcome to another video. So in this video I'm going to create a project. So the project will be calculator. Okay, so let's start by open up a window in which we're gonna work with our project. So this will be a calculator. I'm gonna start by saving the file. Okay, so I'm gonna save. Let's create a new folder right here. Let me think about a name. I'm gonna call it um Python projects. Okay, so I'm gonna save as calculator.py. This will be our file. Let's write a comment, a simple calculator, just to remember what the goal of the program is. So to start this program, what we're gonna do is to think about how we're gonna do uh, the coding. So because we're gonna write a calculator, we needs to be able to get numbers and make some calculation with these numbers. So the first thing we're gonna do is to think how many numbers we're gonna need. So we know that we're gonna need a number, okay, the first number, and also we're gonna need a operation, arithmetic operation in the second number. So let's create some variables and we're going to initialize it as being 0. So there will be a number 1, which I'm going to start is going to be starting with the value of 0. There will be a number 2, which will also be equals 0. There will be a result, which let's initialize as being equals 0. So, and there is an operation which is a string. So let's initialize as being empty. Okay, so this will be our variables. Okay, so this is a int, another int, and a string. So as you guys can see, we have this variable. So let's create the program. I'm gonna write a while loop. Okay, so while let's create a variable. I'm gonna call it let me think about while. Okay, so while, let's start by while and true. Later on we could think on something else. So while true, we're gonna read the first number. So number 1 will be equal input. Let's use, we're gonna start working with integers, okay, but later on we're gonna work with floats. Okay, so and let's print an integer and enter the first number. Okay, and after that we're gonna read the operation. So the operation would be we don't need to use the start function to not be redundant, and enter the operation. Okay, and lastly, let's assign the number 2 as being equal the input of, enter the second number. So as you guys can see, we have this. So let's just execute to see. Okay, this shouldn't be here. So as you guys can see, the idle handles syntax errors. So let's execute. Enter the first time. I'm gonna enter 9. Enter operation. I'm gonna enter plus, and then the second number, enter 36. And we are on a loop. Because we are on a loop, I'm not going to never finish. So I'm gonna close right there. Let's come back. I'm gonna remove this loop for a while. Let me think. Okay, let's just remove this loop to see it after. Later on I can add again. So okay, so we have this things, this number, okay, number 1, number 2, and the operation. So we need to make a decision on the numbers depending on the operation. So what we're gonna do is to write a list or a stack of if conditionals or if statements, and we're gonna assign the result of variable as we make the decision. For instance, let's write the first condition, which will be something like this: operation. If operation is equal, because we're gonna work with a string, we're gonna use the plus sign. Okay, if operations is equal plus or addition, we're gonna do the following. Result will be equal number 1 plus number 2. Okay, and aleph operation is equal minus. We're gonna do the following. Number 1 minus number 2. Remember that we're gonna use the same sequence. Okay, the first one's number 1, and after that is number 2. If operation is equal slash, which will be equal division, we're gonna divide the number 1 by the number 2, and the last operation, we're not going to finish with a else statement. We're gonna need, let's use asterisk. I don't know how to say that. So let's finish by multiplying number 1 by number 2, and lastly let's write a function which will, because it didn't enter any of these operations, we're gonna enter invalid operation. Okay, invalid operation. So okay, so that's it. So let's save it and let's execute. F5. Okay, enter the number. I'm gonna drag this over here. Okay. Yeah, let me minimize this, and okay, I think it's pretty good. Just a little bit. Okay, so enter the first number. I'm gonna enter 9. It asks me some operation. I'm gonna enter asterisk, which will be multiplication. Let's press enter. It's gonna ask me the second number. I'm gonna enter 9, and then it will show nothing because I didn't ask me to show something. So the last thing I'm gonna do is to show the calculation on the screen. So to do that, I'm gonna drag this over here, and I'm gonna do the following. So we're gonna use concatenation because it will be easier, because this is a beginning level. We're gonna use concatenation. So number 1 plus a space plus operation plus another space and number 2 plus another space and the equal sign, which will equal result. So this will be our output. Okay, I'm gonna use just concatenation because it's easier for a beginner to understand what's going on here. So let's execute again. There is a syntax event syntax. Okay, good. Let's execute. Enter the first time. I'm gonna enter 10. Enter the operation. I'm gonna enter division, and this I'm gonna enter 5. So yeah, as I presume, yeah, there is a we are allowed to do that. So what we're gonna do is to convert this numbers to into strings. So let's use the str function, we're just gonna need to use on the int data type, so which will be this number 1, number 2, and result, which we're gonna convert to a string. So let's enter the same calculation, 10 divided by 5, and the output looks like this. Okay, so we have 10 divided by 5, which will equal to 2.0 or 2.0, which is a float data type. So to do that, if you don't wanna have a float data type on a result on a division operation, you're just gonna need to add this int function, which will convert the output to a integer. So if you do 9 divided by 4, instead of seeing let me think, I forgot the output, but it is 2. I think the actual output should be 2. Is it 15? I don't know. Let's see right here. Is 9 divided by 4 should be 25. So instead of seeing this, we are seeing this because of the int function. Okay, so but the program works. So to work until we are bored to death, we're gonna use the this infinite loop, which will do the job. So we're gonna enter calculations. For instance, I'm gonna type 45 times 6, and we see this. Let me see if we have anything. That's something wrong right here, isn't it? Let me see if there is something wrong. I'm gonna see if there is. Okay, so let me think. Yeah, I see what the problem is. So I need to add this right here. So I'm gonna execute again. 9 times 36. Yeah, it would print this over and over again. So the problem is, let me see. Yeah, let's see what's going on now. I need to cut this and paste right over here. I'm gonna make this code. Yeah, I was forgetting to add the same body actually. So it's all good now. So if you execute, we're gonna see the goal, which was to have this program. So now it works until we close the program. Okay, but we could add a variable to be able to finish the program by typing some hot word or hot key. Okay, so but it actually works. It's a very simple calculator. It does simple operations, you guys can see, and we could use this as a way to work with some other functionality that you have in mind. So thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you like, and see you guys next time.